Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the Scrapbooking Fun Summit. Thank you all for joining us. For those who are joining us live on I hope, a beautiful Saturday wherever you are. We are in a smoky Saturday here, although it looks like it's getting better. Canada's having a lot of wildfires, and I know the smoke's moving down to the US, but it's also moving towards us, even though we are half a country away. We've been under a poor air quality warning for the last 2 days. So hopefully it'll blow away, but hopefully you're having a good Saturday, and come watch the replays as well. We will come back to comments. I am Heather, one of your co-hosts. Tracy is my companion, what a partner in crime. That's what it's looking like, partner in crime. And today we have the lovely Francis, but we are going to thank our sponsor for the day first. So our sponsor for today will be with us live at 4 o'clock is Jab Civ. Jab is in, we're almost sure Australia, but maybe New Zealand. And she really, her passion is helping you, if you want to, how to make a passive income business out of creating SVG files and using your cutting machines. She also teaches cutting machines as well. And so she calls it the craftpreneur, and really teaching you how you can use the talents that you have and maybe bring in some passive income to pay for the things that you like to do. You guys do have an expensive hobby in some respects. So that's kind of where she can help you maybe take your files and sell them. So that's what she's going to be in. And she's also crafts on the Cricut, and I think maybe all cutting machines. So thank you, Jeb, for sponsoring us. And everyone else, just, definitely get your bingo cards going. And submitting your bingo cards tomorrow. Somebody asked how to submit them in the Facebook group. It's through, there's a link in the email with the bingo card. You can submit it, and we'll put it at the top of the email tomorrow. We will try to remember that. Submitting it, and then we are drawing a bunch of little prizes on Sunday at the wrap up party. Ooh, it's a mouthful. At 7 p.m. North American Eastern Time. We have it. It's hard to say all these time zones sometimes. So welcome, Francis. I am going to bring you up over here. Give me one sec. Move you around so you are the spotlight.
There you go.
There you go. Technology. I can move people around. The first question we have for you is the easiest we're going to ask you. Where are you in the world?
Where am I? I am in Delaware, United States. Excellent. And I'm originally from Philadelphia, but I moved here to Delaware the past 2 years. So we're just about 30 minutes south of Philadelphia.
Okay. And what time? Delaware is in Eastern?
Eastern Standard Time, yep.
Wrap up a bit late for me. Yes, some people are in different, sorry, Ruth. But if you do submit your bingo card and you're not at the wrap up, we will still honor that. So don't forget, because we recognize that some of people are sleeping. Ruth must be in somewhere in Europe, is my guess with that one. And it's impossible to pick a time that works for everybody. So definitely submit your bingo cards, and we will do that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So our next question is, are you a card maker, scrapbooker, paper crafter in general? What would you call yourself?
Yeah, I'm definitely a paper crafter. And I say that because out of all the crafts that I do, that's the one that I've stayed the longest. As far as scrapbooking, it's been 24 years. And then card making, less. That's about 10 years. So yeah, scrapbooking is my jam. I love scrapbooking.
Excellent. You make Tracy smile when you say that.
I see that.
Well, you can see it. So of course I love to scrapbook, but it's the way you said it's my jam. I just went, okay.
I mean, I remember when I first started, I mean, there was like nothing I wouldn't put in my scrapbook. I put metal, I put fabric, I would put, anything I can think of. And I love that. And I think that's what keeps my interest. Like, I mean, every time you think of a technique, oh, let me try this on a page, So, yeah.
Excellent. What, I just lost my question. I have another question, so it's okay. But I just something you said was like, oh yeah, okay. What started you in doing scrapbooks?
So I had a coworker of mine. She brought her scrapbook album to work, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is fabulous. And then at the time, a local store was teaching scrapbooking classes, and that was it. I was hooked. That was it for me. I was like, I had to have everything that came out and test things, and it was kind of fun. Now I just love the art of it. Like I'm kind of backwards. I'll do a layout, and then I'm like, oh, I got to figure out some pictures to put on this. So it's okay to love the paper.
So you're not the only one. I have a
Okay.
client, and I swear I'm allowed to make fun of her in a sense. She'll accept, I know, because she just loves to do the layouts. But I'm always like, do you never put a picture? And there was one, she goes, Trace, you need to have a scrapbooking event where I'm not allowed to bring the paper. I have to only bring pictures to put on the layouts. She showed me a stack that she had with her, and it was huge. Like she had a bin of it. I'm like, you don't have any pictures on them. One,
So no one said you had to. It's just art, it's like we've said across this. It's art. Um,
And so the tip is whenever you take photographs, do it vertically, and then horizontally, and then you always have a picture to put in. So like I have like these pictures, I have them both horizontally and vertically, and then so it just helps. Now when other people send me their pictures, it's a little bit different. I have to work with what they give me, but yeah.
yes, that is
that's a
true.
good little tip, actually.
That is a good tip.
Uh-huh.
Our question we're asking all of our speakers, and we're getting really cool answers, is what's something that you've had to conquer in your paper crafting journey?
Resisting buy more paper.
That was one of them. You're not the first. You're not the first.
But in crafting, something that I have to resist in paper crafting. That's a
Something
hard
you've
one.
conquered. Something you've conquered.
Oh, something that I've conquered
Yeah.
in paper crafting. I think for me is designing SVGs and like especially like the 3D boxes. That to me was, as far as technology, I don't feel like I'm the most techie person. So it takes me a while to kind of learn things. So for me, that took me a while, and I'm still learning, and I'm still, creating. But I think that was the only major thing. I think once when I first started scrapbooking, I think it was trying to mix pattern papers together. I think that was the initial thing that I had to first conquer in scrapbooking. And then after you kind of get a feel for it, kind of works.
These are great answers. And definitely there are
Mhm.
people who can't conquer technology. So I'm pointing, but you can't see me because I'm too small.
Oh,
I
I'm
think there's
just
a
not
few
looking.
questions on
I'm
here.
totally ignoring that comment. Sorry. I can do that with you, Heather.
Suzette's on here, Tracy, so we'll let her take that one. There's a good question in here. Where did it go? Before we get you to show your layoffs, because whoops, that's not it. Where do you keep all your albums?
Oh yeah, I have a bookshelf and I keep my albums. I'm gonna have to buy some few more, but I do keep them in a big I like ring binder ones. So I have a big one. I don't know if you can see it.
Your
Probably not.
background's taken over.
Sorry, but I do keep them in an album. Um, uh, yeah. So when I go to a crop, I'll just take like a couple of page protectors and then I'll put like a layout in one of them, and then yeah, and then afterwards, I just go through my pictures, and then I'll send those to get printed out, and then I have to glue them down. So you're right, I have to take a whole stack of pictures with me to glue them down.
And that makes sense. Can you talk a little bit about your project that you did? Hopefully you can.
Sure. So yeah. So this is. Hopefully, you can see this a little bit better.
No, your background's going to take over, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. How that? There you go.
There
A
you
little
go.
better.
If it's in front of you, you're okay.
A little bit better. Okay. So the layouts that I have, I wanted to play with 6x6 paper because usually when I look at 6x6, I think of card making. Usually the 6x6 papers, they usually come out in like 12x12, so the patterns are a little bit bigger. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself and just see what I can do with my scraps and my 6x6 papers. And so I was going through a lot of really, really old when I first started scrapbooking, and I found some templates that I thought would really work. And I was like, "Ooh, let me bring this back from my early days." And florals, you can't go wrong. And so I have two great nephew. I have a great nephew and a great niece, both born same month, different states. And so I did layouts side by side, one for the boy, one for the girl, and I thought that was kind of cool.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Now I have to go
That's
to two
really
different states for their first birthday.
That's okay.
But maybe
Travel's
they
always
should
good.
both have to come to you, said you put the party on.
Right. Well, now I've got an excuse. So I'm going to Florida. I'm leaving Wednesday, so to go
Nice.
to
Nice.
then I'll come back in July and I'll do the other one.
Someone said they saw you using Stampin' Up! Products. Are you a demonstrator?
Yes, and yes to both of them. Yes, and I figured to use this product because I know in a lot of different countries they have different products, but I wanted to make sure that the layout design anybody can use with any kind of paper.
Excellent. Somebody's asking what type of paper you use for printing.
Oh, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't use digital papers for my layouts.
Is that for the question, or is it printing some of the SVG designs? I'm not
Oh,
sure. We'll
paper
see.
that I use for printing my SVG. That's a good question. Now, as far as photo paper, I use HP photo paper for pictures, and then for SVGs, I like Nina White cardstock because it's a little thicker and it works great for card bases and just about anything. It's a little stiffer, so I can kind of. But I guess that's the only. I don't know. I hope I answered the question, Amy.
Amy, just Amy, which paper are you talking about for printing images or for printing the SVG files or for printing
Right.
printables? There's so many different things we print nowadays.
I do, yeah. Like I've made graduation fans, with the image, and I use photo paper for that, and then a laminating machine. So it's like there are all kinds of papers. But you're right. Like I said, I have a lot of different kinds of paper.
Paper's an addiction, we know.
And then they're like brochure papers, like doing like the potato chip bags.
So how much paper do you have that you bought that you just can't bring yourself to cut?
I have some. Don't tell my husband. I love Graphic 45, and I'm always like, is this person worthy of Graphic 45?
It's
So,
funny because so many Graphic 45, like people who love their stuff, it's very hard for them to use it. It is. You're not alone at all.
mhm.
Hmm. So
So,
there
I
you
mean,
go.
some of the paper I've seen, and you guys see much more, is a work of art in its own right. Next to it, I really want to cut it. Where would I cut it? It would be those decisions that would be hard. Amy was
And that's
asking
exactly what Graphic 45 is. Sorry there,
yeah.
Heather, but it is.
Amy was asking what you print for your SVG files. What paper do you use for SVG files?
Okay. Okay. As far as the cardstock, I got it. Okay. Um, I still have a lot of like close to my heart. They're out of business. I still have a lot of their cardstock, and I'll use Recollections. They're from Michaels. I like AC cardstock too. Like that little and 12 by 12 cardstock has really good cardstock as well.
Yes, they do. They were just on before us, so there you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
What other crafts do you like to do, and any you just gave up on? It's a good question, Ruth.
Ooh. Gave up on clay and cake decorating. Somebody said the other. What was the other question? What else did I give up on?
What do you like to do? What else do you like to do?
Oh, rhinestoning. So I like making designs with hot fix rhinestones. So I'll have shirts and things like that. You probably saw that on my YouTube channel. So yeah.
Right. So there you go. Good question. Another question is, do you have tips for mixing and matching pattern paper from different lines for the technique you showed on your project?
That's a great question. Excellent question. So when I grab a piece of a card, like a pattern paper, I look at what is the most dominant color. Okay, that's what I look. What is the most dominant color? And then try to match other pattern papers for it. The other thing I also look at when I look at the pattern paper is the design. Is it bigger than the heads of the people in the picture? And usually I'll just pick a pattern that's not too big if I don't have my pictures ready, right? So when I look at that, then I match the two colors. Color wheels are very helpful. Use that as well. Um, 3 is good if you're a beginner, try to mix and match different pattern papers. 5 is like the maximum, and I think that's why I picked the layout that I did because there are 5 different patterns, right? Papers. But I also look at throw some neutrals in there if you're mixing matching. Make sure so your eyes can rest on the picture. I always say the photo is your story, and then the paper and the embellishments just to support the story, which is whoever's in the picture, right? So my biggest tip is look at your picture if you have your picture ready. If not, what is the most dominant color, and then try to coordinate that between all your patterns. And I hope that helps.
That was a good one too, but not your pattern being bigger than the person's head. It's an
Yeah.
interesting, I can understand that too, because you don't want to focus on the pattern, you want to focus on the head.
Yeah, and because that's what happens. I've seen where they like there's a beautiful butterfly background paper, and then you have a picture right next to it, and the butterfly is bigger than the head, and your eyes automatically going to the butterfly.
Mhm.
So that's just one of the tips. Yep.
Very good. Someone here, they said a couple of times she's bought 2 pads of the 49 paper so she can have one to stare at.
I've bought
Again, Ruth, you're not the only one. I'm not kidding you.
I bought
I
a
have
few sheets
clients who
too
do that.
of the specific one. Yep.
I could see that. Then you can cut the ones still, yeah.
One of the
Yeah,
things I
and
miss
other brands,
doing.
don't get me wrong, they have beautiful paper, but the graphic 45 lovers, they're different that way. They really are. And I can see it because graphic 45, like it's you have to see their paper in comparison, Heather, to some other ones. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot in it,
Mhm.
right?
And the
There's a
feel of the
lot
paper
in that
too.
sheet, the pattern in that. It's different. Yeah.
I
Yeah, and
get
the
it. I
design
have
and
no
quality
question.
of paper. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very much a feel person, so I get that.
Mhm.
Do you
Mhm.
use layout sketches or templates, or do you just come up with your own thing?
Oh, all of it. All of it. Sometimes, if you get in a funk, then yes, sketches are like my jam. I like that. And then I make it my own. So if the pictures are going horizontal, maybe I'll go make them vertical. Or I even take a card sketch and then turn that into a layout. So you can get inspirations from anything. I've gone walking through a craft store just to get inspiration.
Mhm.
But usually I just come up with my own design because the papers I pick. I one of the things I had to do to control my my paper quantity is decide what am I gonna really use this in the next year. That's the question I always ask myself. You know,
Mhm.
because if I'm not, then I can pass on it because there's always like great bargains, right? That you can get on papers, but be really honest with yourself. Like graphic 45, I just love looking at it. But
And
I promise I will use it. If not, somebody will inherit it and fall in love with it. But
there you go.
Maybe that's a challenge for the next summit.
oh, graphic 45?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that
writing
would
that
be
down. I'm writing
fun.
that down.
That would be fun. A lot of people here like that. And if someone says here also paper rose papers, I haven't seen that. Ooh, I would like to try that. Crafter's Companion paper brand. Yep, Crafter's Companion. They've been around a long time. Yeah.
Someone says, I often find that I can't find plain paper to match the patterns. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Plain paper to match.
Like plain color, like solid color to
Use
match the pattern.
cardstock. Cardstock is your plain cardstock is your best friend. And remember, you could always stamp on the background or put some kind of other techniques. Right now stencils. I love stencils. Right, like that's like my one of the new things I like to do right now is do a lot of stenciling. So go and put some stenciling in there in the corner, and then that you create your own pattern paper and stamps. Take out your rubber stamps and just go for it. Create your own pattern paper.
Tracy, you have a thought?
Because she's saying, okay, to find plain paper to match the patterns. Also, with certain patterns, you might have a lot of different colors in there. So you may not find it to match exactly, this tone of blue in there. But then all of a sudden, if you look, sometimes maybe just, I'm going to say in a flower. And then if you look at the middle of the flower, it might be orange. And you go, hang on, what if I try to pop that out? Because you might look at your scraps or not your scraps, or your cardstock and go, I have more orange. And then boom, you could pop it out, right? So there's a lot of colored of the solid colored stocks that can go with the pattern papers. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So don't try.
Because
Another interpretation that I would put on it is you don't have to match the main color. You might be able to find a subtle
yeah,
accent color to match.
Mhm.
yes.
I knew someone who would, when she couldn't decide, she always put black because it helps rest your eyes on the picture.
Yeah. When in doubt, darker
Yeah,
colors do help. So
Mhm.
it does
I
work.
tend to gravitate towards flowers and pattern paper and embellishments. Do you have tips of how to branch out, especially for non-themed layouts?
Great question. Okay, so other pattern paper. Okay, so you could look at multicolor. You could look at wood backgrounds. You can look at other pattern or other themes. So Disney theme or soccer or whatever papers. Um, there's a lot of stripes. You always can find polka dot stripes and things like that. And then you again have fun with cardstock. Don't undervalue cardstock. I should do like one with just cardstock and just have fun with different color cardstock. You can do a lot with just plain cardstock. So as far as paper embellishment, I know I tend to gravitate a lot to paper embellishments too, but there's a lot of stickers out there and stamps that are really, really pretty. So look at things that you do that you don't normally do. Maybe you're a bowler, maybe you like fishing, maybe you like roller skating or riding a bicycle or knitting. Just giving you some examples. Then those are great embellishments, even if you have to just print them on cardstock as an embellishment, so you can kind of get out of that. And you can have like paper, like floral background, and then have different kinds of embellishments to go with the theme.
Makes sense. Just try, sometimes even along what you're saying, if you're doing something pick a sport, like pick a sport and do a sport, and then you're not going to have flowers. Hopefully, I don't know what sports have flowers in them, but you might be more likely to do that. Or pick something for a boy, which doesn't tend to have flowers. That's another way to get out of that.
Grass. You can have trees in the background or whatever. Yeah, you can still do something with that.
You can do what's the word? Faunal? I can't. Flowers and somebody help me with the word, Tracy.
Florals or
no. Faunal.
Fauna.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not fauna.
It'll come. Somebody will type in the word I'm looking for.
I don't know.
The thing that describes everything else that isn't flowers. So things that describe.
I don't know that word.
I do. I just can't pronounce it. No,
try and Google it.
It'll come to me, and if it doesn't, the chat might find it for me. I'm just
again
another
That was right.
Fauna. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
I knew it would come. I'm like,
we just learned something.
Well, I'm dyslexic, so I know the words, but they just don't always come out of my brain in the right way. So,
other papers that are great though that can work with everything pattern would be a lot of wood papers if you like wood stuff, right? It can go on any backgrounds, I find too, and just a little bit of nature, kind of like the stone paper and that, and then you could add the flowers to it if you like that, right? You can just mix it in. Anyway,
someone said shaped brads are fun. I like ribbon. Nobody's really talked much about ribbon. Even if you put like a double-sided tape, you can do all kinds of fun things with ribbons. You can create flowers, or you can just do like a ruffle, or you can have quite a bit of fun with ribbon.
Shape brads making a comeback. Tracy, are shape brads making a comeback?
I won't say they're making a comeback, but there's one major retailer, or not retailer, but a manufacturer of them, Eyelet Outlet. If anybody's looking, I know they call them Eyelet Outlet, but meanwhile eyelets are pretty well gone. But they're the ones that come out with all the fun shaped brads, right? They make a lot of them. So again, I just find every few months they release a few more new ones, right? But again, a comeback. I mean, make it if you like them, use them.
Maybe you'll be the trendsetter. There you go. Be the trendsetter.
Yeah. Yes.
Somebody was saying that in the UK they definitely have different products, which makes sense. So they have it got away from here, but they have the Clarity stamp paper and the Crafter Companion paper in the UK. And so that's also something we have different access to different products in Canada and the UK and the US as well.
Yeah, Crafter's Companion is going through a bit of a change. They're coming back. Okay, I'll tell you that. So if anybody's having issues getting it, you might for a bit. But somebody else earlier mentioned Paper Rose, and they're in Australia, and they're a really good company too. At first, they were for cards, like just do the 6x6s. But the last few years, they've got 12x12s, and yep, you can get addicted to them too.
I love this audience.
Yeah,
I have a lot of different weird shape eyelets too.
Someone says they love firework paper and cosmic collection paper. So yeah, twine, burlap, and gauze are great embellishments.
That's good. Oh, gauze. I haven't used gauze, but it makes sense. You can make like I guess like a ghost out of gauze. Yeah, that's the thing about scrapbooking. You can use about anything.
For gauze, you could use it for like a background of like almost look like a fish netting, for your beach things and stuff like that. Oh yes.
Probably less
you know?
expensive than some embellishments too.
I remember
Um,
taking
Mhm.
old lace. I would go like secondhand store, get like old lace, and I would spray, and
Yeah.
write through it to have that pattern. It's kind of fun. You can do all kinds of fun stuff.
Susan, you can be the trendsetter. You just have to finish something.
How many here have a PhD? Projects half done.
Yes. Yes.
A good one, definitely. I think
Did.
there's Susan, are you that's a good I hadn't heard that one before. I think we all suffer that no matter what craft we are. I was gonna say with what I do, I'm good if it has a destination.
I
Like
have
if
at
I'm
least.
making something because I have to, I
Mhm.
can finish it, like for a gift, but I'm terrible if I don't.
Yeah, make a shaker and a tool. Yeah, that's great. With no glitter. Yeah, you can use sequins in there or little beads for the shakers. I've
Mhm.
even cut out my own um, shapes in Cricut and just put that inside the shaker.
I have some of the mesh packaging from fruit. There you go. I've got a whole house
Yeah.
full of PhDs.
Susan's is another PhD. That's another PhD. Yeah, I have a. It's funny. I had a friend of mine. She came over to my craft space, and she's like, she started laughing. I was like, "What's so funny?" She says, "Because I had 3 iris boxes. It says left behind 1, left behind 2, left behind 3. These are all unfinished projects."
You on that note, do you ever like just I've asked this question whether like when you make a really big oops, what do you do?
Embellish it.
Embellish it.
Seriously, that's like the best
I
thing to
shouldn't
do.
have been sipping their water. I like
Yeah.
that. Embellish it.
Yeah, that's what I
Is
said.
that
Make next. Oh, great opportunity to embellish it. Put a sticker, put a flower, put a butterfly. It'll be all right.
is
There's gonna
that
be
what
a butterfly in the middle of the football field, but that's okay. It happens.
I would say does that more work for your scrapbooking or your card making? Or
Both,
both? Both?
both. I just put an embellishment. I'll put like a little gem if it's a card. Yeah, it's fine.
Mhm. Just
Gauze
cover
Night
it
in
up.
Guatemala. Okay, yeah. This is interesting. Oh yeah, gauze for hospital and sick photos.
There you
That's
go.
also a great idea. This is where especially like I know that Tracy, you host events at your place of business, and that's when you get with other crafters. The creativity goes to another level. You start helping each other out. I've definitely I call myself nosy. I'll go to a crop and I'll walk around just to see,
Yeah.
and the inspiration is like wow,
Mhm.
it's
I
amazing.
tell everybody to do that at a crop. They're like, "Oh, I've never been to one." They walk in. I'm like, "It's okay. You can walk around." And I find nobody like it doesn't bother people if you say, "Excuse me, do you mind, Francis? Like, what are you making there? How did you come up with that idea?" It's not like they're like, "I don't want to disturb people." I'm like, "No," because whoever this, Francis might be, she'll be turning around like, "This is da 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 da," and they like to talk about what they're doing, right? Because
Mhm.
first of all, they just got a compliment,
Hmm.
because you want to know. And then it's amazing. You get free teaching like that. You get to try people's products. They're like, yeah, give it a shot. See if you like this, right? It's a
Hmm.
great way. I find it's a great community when you walk into a crop.
Yeah. If you
Oh, it's
haven't
It
also
is.
Yeah, if you haven't been to an in-person event, definitely try it. Now I'm glad that, we're back to life is
Yeah.
normal again and we can kind of gather because it's definitely something very different. The
well, there's
inspiration.
something about even in our circle. So we run the Scrapbooking Fun
Yes.
Circle, which you're available. You are invited as a VIP to try out for a month. If you're not a VIP, you're absolutely welcome to come too. We'll be
Yes.
talking more about it at the end of the summit. But the Scrapbooking Fun Circle, even virtually, we have that connection. And so people are crafting better together. People will ask questions, but there's just like a virtual energy. And our members of our Scrapbooking Fun Circle will come pretty much. We have dedicated ones who come, and if they don't, they watch the replay. So I don't know if Sandy's in here, but Sandy's shared with us that, one day she was feeling kind of low. She pulled up a replay of one of our crops, one of our in-person, we call them craft and chats, watched the replay and had the energy and felt so much better and crafted along with us.
Mhm.
So there's something about bringing people together with a common goal that creates an energy. And then you can also learn from each other. And we always have people showing and helping, and you all want to help each other learn, which is awesome. So yeah, any
Yes.
type of time coming together virtually or not. We had one woman who just couldn't leave the home for health reasons. And so this was her way to connect. Or there's others who live more remotely, or there are no crops around them because there's not
Yep.
somebody like Tracy running crops. So yeah. Oh, there's Sandy. She's
That's
here.
Yeah. She's so
So yeah,
cute. Here.
you too. Yeah, and Sandy's one of the ones who shows up every week for our events and crafts and chats with
Mhm.
us and does it. And honestly, makes Tracy and I show up and enjoy the energy as well. So it's
Yes.
been great. We don't have crops around Joyce anymore, years ago. So if you don't have crops around Joyce, come and check out our Scrapbooking Fun Circle, because that's what it's all about. We have one speaker per month. Sometimes we just do something fun. So we co-craft, or we have a speaker per month. We always have a challenge per month. So this month's challenge is
The tracks.
which was from Sandy. Sandy inspired us that.
Yes.
So we do a lot of play with words. So this month's challenge for people in the circle is to design something with tracks in it. But it could be railroad tracks, it could be animal tracks, it could be the tracks of your life. So there's lots of play that we can do with the words. And so we have a theme every single month. Sometimes we dream it up 5 months before we publish it, but we always have a theme. And then you also have access to our library. And there's, I think we're like 17 or 18 presentations in there that you can go back and watch. So think about it if you want to come and you don't have crops, or you're not able to go to a crop, right? Sometimes physically we can't get out, or life circumstances, or you're a caregiver, or anything like that. So give it a check, and we'll be talking more about it after the summit's over. But if you are a VIP, you do have a coupon that's good, I think, until Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yes, I think it's Wednesday as well.
It's Wednesday, to join for a month free and try it out. And then you get an ongoing discount of 20% if you stay with us. So
I love the comments. Your ladies are definitely very creative. I don't see too many guys answering right now, but yeah, I mean, they're saying here track and meat. There's people here who definitely like that. I agree. I mean, when I first moved to Delaware, I didn't know. I was still trying to drive into Pennsylvania. But I did find one person who does like every other month, so that's nice. But yeah, definitely meet with people, and virtually too. I came across a group too that's to like, I have one that just does rhinestoning. I have a group that likes to just craft all kinds of different, like, party stuff. And so it's good because I get to learn new stuff, like how to do a vending machine. Like, who would have thought of a vending machine? I didn't. But it's
But
like
definitely.
popular now, so it's like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, we have a member in Ireland, and there's just not many stores in Ireland. There's not many crafting opportunities. She's lovely, and she's been really fun to. She has something we all dream of. Margaret, I don't think you're with us. She has a crafting shed. So her husband built her a shed in her backyard, and it's just her crafting studio. It's beautiful. And so she gets away from the house and she goes and crafts in her crafting shed. And she recently fell and hurt her hip. And so crafting was, something she couldn't walk, but her husband would wheel her out to the crafting shed, and she would craft in her crafting shed. So, yeah, it's very cool. So from people, that's the cool part about the virtual world, is it brings people from all over the world together, which is a lot of fun. And we do have a lot of fun. So if you don't have a group, find one, like go, and we're not the only ones running an online community, but find one that suits you. We've been told by our members we do it differently, and they love what it is that we do differently. And so, yeah, check what is out.
That sounds great. I think your community sounds exactly what people can do, and you meet people from all over the world, I'm sure. So that sounds absolutely wonderful, and the challenge is to keep going.
Sandy's got a great tip. She asked on a community board. So go, if you've got a Facebook community group or board, she said, what are their groups? And she found one, and she meets once a month. So, Meetup's another one, although Meetup's not as popular. Meetup's another one these days. So yeah, look and find and ask. And yeah, I think coming together is great.
Tractor, haha.
Yeah, tractor would work in our tracking. So yes.
Yes.
I'm doing Amtrak. So I'm leaving on Amtrak. I'm coming back in a plane. So I'll do train tracks. That's actually what
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that came from
There's so many things.
One of MK, who's one of the presenters here, was one of the speakers in our circle, and she did it. She had gone to a train museum, and she put tracks on the back of her thing, and that's kind of where this all started from. So yeah,
I just remembered years ago. I can't remember what year it was. It was definitely in the 90s. But I remember doing interactive pages, and I had cars, and I had a plane that would move, and a boat that you can slide. It was fun. I'm gonna think about it. That would actually fit the track if I put the train one. Yeah.
Tracy, write down interactive media.
Interactive media.
Whenever we get a thing on our challenge, hints for challenges, because we do.
I don't know if I'm getting any bingo in there.
We do challenges 12 a year, so it's like, oh, okay, that's another idea. Who knows when it might appear, but we always have to keep in mind what are our challenges that are coming up. But that's the fun part of an online community, and that's what we tried to create with ours, is that sense of this is who we are. You guys are getting 100% of who we are when you listen to us do these Q&As, right? We're on the fly, we have fun, and that's kind of the atmosphere that we wanted to create in our community. So, but you look for local communities, look for local crops. And Tracy has told me, because I would not have thought that, she has people who come to her crop that might not actually scrapbook. Or in fact, I saw one at her last crop where there was somebody doing something. I wouldn't have thought of that because I kind of learned about crop in this space. I would have thought, oh, I could go to a crop and do something else.
Yeah. I have people who bring their sewing machines, some ladies who will knit, I always tell them, I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're renting that table, that space for the day. You can sleep on it. You know, do what you like, dance away, whatever you want.
She hasn't told me that yet, so I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want me at her crop. There you go.
Change discussion now. No kidding.
Someone says she's also a junk journaling, and she has a virtual group who does junk journaling.
That's great.
Exactly.
The other thing we learned about yesterday that we never heard of, and I'm not going to know the name of it, the little square pieces of art Cindy was talking about. Help me in these AT somethings, and you do trading.
Oh, yeah. Geez, ATC cards.
ATC cards.
Yeah.
They have an ATC card group. So, yeah.
I was going to say ATM.
I was going to say ATG, like the gun.
I know. Yeah.
So, Susan, Lynn is actually our guest in our circle this month. So there you go.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we have
mystery
a lot of
crop. Yeah, I've done. Susan talked about having mystery crafts for your crop. That's fun. I've done mystery cards where they say, okay, I want you to have a blue pattern paper, a red pattern paper, a gray pattern, and cut it, and they give you the dimensions, and you have no idea what you're doing. And then you go, and then they say, okay, and grab a stamp with any saying you want, and then you're like, okay. And when you get there, you figure out this new design, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah. Someone asked, I like your page. Was it designed just for the event, or would you have made it anyways?
Did I do it just for the? I would have made it anyways, because I think I don't use 6x6 paper as much as I thought I would. So I've got like two packets of 6x6 paper that I haven't even touched yet. So this kind of forced me to play with it more. And then once I started doing this, I had more ideas on how to make more. So yeah, I would have made it anyway.
Okay.
Isn't that what's happened? You get an idea from an idea, and then it just kind of goes from there. So no worries, Sharon. Welcome. Thanks for coming. We'll be back later we have lots of later.
You have a
lot.
We have
Lynn.
Lynn. Here, we're talking about Lynn. We have Lynn
yes.
at 3:00, and then we have Jab Sid at 4:00, and then we have the ever loved Alicia, who does. People love her printables. She's one of our. I think we've had her all of our summits, and people just love our printables. In fact, we were the first summit she ever did, so we take credit for bringing her into the summit world. And people love her stuff, so she has always popular, and it'll be like 5:00 in the morning for her, or 6 or something like that, because she's in Australia. So is Jab. They're both in either Australia or New Zealand. So if you can come back, great. If not, we'll be back tomorrow with 4 more of us, and plus our wrap-up party. So thank you. We're not signing. If you have any other questions for Francis, that was just for Sharon, who's leaving.
For Sharon,
who's probably already left by the time she hears this with the delay. But there you go. And if you're listening to the replay, remember, we will cycle back for questions if we see them, or any other questions like that. We get lots of replay watching. Our group moves one time per week for a prompt game, 10 random prompts. The pages we create are so fun. Another idea. See, Tracy, just keep writing them down.
Yeah, I'm curious about the prompt.
Can you give us an example of a prompt?
Yeah.
Arlene, can you give us an example of some of the prompts? I was watching Alicia's tutorial right before this. I'm sure her tutorial is beautiful. Her printables are very beautiful. She loves mincy paper. Is that the right pronunciation, Tracy?
Sorry, Minte.
Minte paper.
Minte.
Thank you for the presentation. Yes. Love seeing ways to use my many scraps. It's a big theme of using scraps. We have a lot of using scrap presentations in this time around.
That's great. I mean, we as paper crafters, we always have tons and tons of scraps, right? And that's how one day I had to get I needed a birthday card, and I said, wait a minute, why am I going to the store to buy a card? I have all the supplies. And after that, I just started making cards. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. But yeah, tons of scraps. Um, I have a tip that I don't know what you ladies do with your scraps. What I do with my cardstock and with my pattern papers is once I've created layouts, I usually do probably like how many layouts I make with that pattern paper. I cut my paper down either to a 5 by 7 or 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and then I
Mhm.
just sort them by color, primary color, and then that way I can just put them as backgrounds for a card, or I can use it for a layout. So that's another tip if for scraps.
2 questions for you. One is, can you tell a little bit about your free gift to everyone, which is Boost Your Creativity with Sketches?
Okay. Sure. So the idea is how to use your scraps, right? And then so I use a lot of squares and we cut them down to and create our own pattern background, right? So you just use a neutral background, cardstock, and then you use your pattern papers to do all the heavy work, right? And we all have scraps. So I wanted to use these sketches that you can use with any pattern paper with any theme. So you can do this for Halloween, you can do this for Christmas, you can do this for whatever. Even if you have sports, you can do a sports with all the different sports colors. And the idea is that you can use more of your 6 by 6. So if you're like me, you probably have pattern paper, cardstocks in different sizes, which is always an organizational interest challenge in itself.
Mhm.
But this allows you to go ahead and replicate it in multiple themes, and it just kind of changes your design of your albums, because you do kind of get into a design funk where everything starts looking the same as far as the design. So this kind of helps break that up.
Excellent. And your VIP one is a kind of a step up from that.
Yes, there's more sketches and then there's more layouts as well. And so again, there's going to be more squares, but it's a little bit different. And so the squares you can either put an embellishment, you can put titles, you can put journaling, you can put pictures. So you can change it up constantly by using these squares. And it's not mosaics. I know there's like a company out there that does mosaics where you just stick
Mhm.
your pictures in there, but this is a little bit different. This is like the square's a little bigger than that. So it makes things a little bit fun. And that was one of my challenges. Like, do I put a picture here? Do I just fill this up with pictures, or do I put more embellishments? Do I just do a lot of letters? And it's fun because I know I can use those layouts over and over again with different themes.
Excellent. So if you're VIP, don't
Great.
forget to check that out.
Hmm.
Tracy, did you have a?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay. You look like you. Oh, you're
Yeah,
gonna say
no,
something?
sorry.
Some
Well,
of the prompts you
here.
asked earlier what the prompts were. Some of them were using a household item as a stamp or use blue, any blue. So
Yeah.
similar to kind of what we do with our challenges in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you, Arlene, though. I did
Yeah.
see it. I wrote a couple things down.
Ideas. We get ideas, and that's the cool part. It's all about getting ideas from this. So
Hmm.
excellent. Well,
Hmm.
unless does anybody have any more questions for? I was going to say Arlene, not for Arlene. I see Arlene's name in front of my
I
eyes,
see
not
that too.
Francis's name. I'm like, no, not Arlene.
I
We
know.
love you, Arlene, but it's like, okay.
It's okay.
We really appreciate all of you guys coming online and watching, and if you're watching the replay. And as we've said, if you are a VIP, make sure we're going to send an email telling you when any of the freebies, not the freebies, the bonuses expire. If you're not a VIP, come in, check it out. There's a lot of great offers in here that are well worth the price of being a VIP. If you have any other questions, let us know. But I don't think so. And we will be back with Lynn at 3 p.m. North American Eastern Standard Time, Toronto, New York time. Pick your time zone. We will be back at 3 a.m. And for those in Europe who might be getting tired and going to sleep, 3, 5, you might still be up. That's 8 o'clock at night. So we may still have you, depending on your time zone. That's 8 o'clock in the UK. And then we will have 2 people from Australia, New Zealand, with Jab at 4 and Alicia at 5.
Mhm.
So we're going around the world today. All
That's
great.
right.
So
We're just
thank you
traveling.
all. Thank you, Francis, for joining us. You can definitely see your enthusiasm for scrapbooking,
Yes.
which
Oh,
is
sure.
awesome to share and see and open people's eyes to. Some people are intimidated to scrapbook, and some people are intimidated to card make. So definitely check out Francis' video today. And remember, if you're a card maker, watch the scrapbooking. If you're scrapbooker, watch the card making, because there's always tips in there that you can apply to your other modality.
Exactly.
So, excellent. Well,
Yes.
thank
Thanks
you
so much.
all. We will be
Thank
seeing you later. And thanks, everyone. And thank you so much, Francis, for being part of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
you.
Bye.
Bye.